Have you ever asked yourself, what would Jesus do? It's a question people have been asking for 2,000 years, and it's every bit as important now as it was then. So, what would Jesus do? Well, we don't have to guess. Jesus showed us and told us himself. Love God, love others. So, when your brother is sad, you can love by listening and encouraging. When your friends argue, you can love by not taking sides and helping to make peace. But living like Jesus is hard if you're not spending time with Jesus. You can read or listen to stories of Jesus in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all about the things Jesus said and did. You can also talk with Jesus, just like a friend. Tell him what you're excited about or what's worrying you. Ask for his help and wisdom. Jesus might bring a verse or a picture to your mind or a sense of peace in your heart. The more time you spend with Jesus, the more you can become like Jesus. Then God can work through you to change the world around you. That's why loving like Jesus is an amazing way to worship God with your life. Because worship is about more than just singing loud. It's all about living loud.
Hey, welcome to Story Lab. This week we're learning about a guy who did a complete
180.
Woo! Get out of here.
Hey, I'm Zeke.
And I'm Carter.
This month, we're talking about what it looks like to live like Jesus.
So, how are you enjoying STEAM Camp?
Well, you know what they say at camp, the learning is intense.
Yo, Zeke, you gotta be a dad to make dad jokes.
And when you're at STEAM camp, you have to watch out for bugs.
I get it. Bugs, as in problem with coding, right?
No, I mean mosquitoes. They're eating me alive. Ooh. So, what are you up to?
Well, I was going to meet up with Skylar and Sebastian. They wanted to test out a robot they created that makes s'mores.
Oh yeah, the S'more Blaster 3000?
Yeah, but they changed it to Toasty McMelt.
Even better.
Yeah, but now it's raining.
Rain and robots do not compute.
Affirmative.
No problem though. I have a project we can set up inside. You ready?
Let's make it.
For this STEAM project, we're gonna create a balance sculpture.
Hey, partner, unless you're counting scissors, I don't see any technology here.
True, but if you think about it, engineering existed way before computers were ever invented.
Good point. So, what's first?
First, you need to cut out different cardboard shapes and then paint them.
Okay, wait, what kind of shapes are we talking about here?
Any kind you want of circles, triangles, dodecahedrons, other shapes. It's your masterpiece.
Okay. Done.
Now step 2, paint those bad boys. Oh, and don't forget a paper towel tube and a square piece of cardboard. Paint those too. Step 3, take the paper towel tube and flatten one end like a pancake.
No food similes until after lunch.
Then staple it together and cut out a V-shaped notch. Other side.
Done.
We then attach the open end of the tube to our base using the hot glue gun. Now, here's where it gets interesting. That little notch will serve as our fulcrum.
A fulcrum is the point on which a lever turns or balances.
Fulcrum? You trying to sneak some science into our science project?
Moi? Oui. Now grab a long skewer, like this one, and attach those cardboard shapes we made. Maybe add some wire, a few beads if you're feeling fancy. A little bit more. Yeah. Right there. Well, that looks like something.
Yes, decorations.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Okay, and I think our masterpiece is finished. Now, Are you ready for the fun part?
I'm down for fun.
Now, take this thing you just created and balance it on that little notch that we just cut out earlier on this paper towel. Try and find the place on the middle or wherever it is where it stays on. All right. Oh.
A work of art.
Oh yeah, now that's what I call steamwork.
Let's see a robot create that.
Speaking of a tricky balancing act, it's time for...
The story before the story.
Today, we're in Acts, the 5th book in the New Testament. When Jesus was on earth, he showed us how to love God and love others.
Then Jesus gave up his life for us. But God raised Jesus back to life. About 40 days later, Jesus returned to heaven to be with God.
As Jesus' followers shared the amazing news, the church grew quickly through the power of God's Spirit.
But the religious leaders were upset and tried to stop the new believers.
One of these leaders was a man named Saul.
Saul hated the believers so much, he got permission to go to the distant city of Damascus and arrest the believers there.
Which is where our story starts.
Take it away.
Hey everybody, I'm Brian. Today we're looking at how we can live in peace with one another, which was something that Saul, also known as Paul, had to discover. Saul was a Pharisee, one of the Jewish religious leaders.
He was highly educated and knew every single one of God's laws and tried to keep them to perfection.
But Saul believed the Jesus followers were going against God's laws. So, filled with determination, he set off for the city of Damascus to get rid of the believers there. But here is where the plot twists. As he neared Damascus, Saul saw a blinding light. He dropped to the ground and heard the voice of Jesus.
Saul, Saul, why are you opposing me?
Who are you, Lord?
I am Jesus. I am the one you are opposing. Now get up and go into the city. There you will be told what you must do.
Saul obeyed, even though he was now blind. Meanwhile, God spoke to a believer named Ananias with instructions to go find Saul and place hands on him to heal him of blindness. But Ananias knew Saul was there to arrest believers.
Lord, I've heard many reports about this man. They say he has done great harm to your holy people in Jerusalem.
But God made it clear. So Ananias went in peace to his enemy, and Saul's sight returned. After this, Saul immediately started preaching about Jesus, which put him in a very tricky position. I mean, on one hand, the Jewish leaders hated Jesus followers, so now they hated their own guy, Saul. In fact, while Saul was in Damascus, the Jewish religious leaders tried to kill him, but he escaped. And on the other hand, when Saul traveled to Jerusalem, the Jesus followers there were still afraid of him.
Please, I am no longer your enemy, but your friend, your brother.
So, yep, Saul was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I mean, how was he going to get anybody to accept him? Enter Barnabas. Barnabas was a believer known for encouraging others. In fact, Barnabas actually means son of encouragement. Barnabas had heard the stories of how Saul met Jesus. He could tell that Saul had truly changed. So Barnabas took Saul to the Jesus followers himself.
Saul met Jesus on the road to Damascus. Jesus actually talked to him. And since then, Saul has been preaching about Jesus with great boldness.
With Barnabas' encouragement, the believers in Jerusalem finally accepted Saul as one of their own. In fact, it wasn't long until the Jewish religious leaders in Jerusalem also tried to kill Saul. When Saul's new friends heard this, they took him to the coastal town of Caesarea and then sent him off to his hometown of Tarsus, where he would be safe. And Saul, also known as Paul, traveled all over to countries we know today as Turkey, Greece, Cyprus, Italy, Syria, and Israel. He shared the good news about Jesus and started many new churches. Paul even ended up writing letters that now make up 13 books of the New Testament. In his letter to the Romans, he wrote, "If possible, live in peace with everyone. Do that as much as you can." And Paul continued to live it out, just as Barnabas had helped to make peace between Saul and the believers in Jerusalem. The end.
So So when Barnabas helped make peace, he wasn't just being nice.
He was changing history.
Absolutely.
So what's our part in the story?
Well, God is at work to make each of us more and more like Jesus. And when we follow Jesus, God sends the Holy Spirit to live with us. And peace is a gift that comes from the Spirit. We can ask God to help us make peace wherever we go.
So when somebody makes you mad, just take a deep breath before you react.
You can ask God to help you act and speak in a way that helps to bring peace instead of making the situation worse.
Or if you know someone is upset with you, don't pretend it's not happening.
That's right. You can take initiative to go to them and talk about it. If that doesn't feel safe, get a friend to go with you or ask a grown-up to help.
We can even be like Barnabas.
Yeah, if you've got two friends or family members who are mad at each other, you can help them make peace.
You got it. And when you know that Jesus is with you, you don't have to be defensive. Instead, you can work toward living in peace with everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Peace out.
You beat me to it. See you guys next time, and peace.
So, here's the thing. Live in peace with one another.
Even when it's a balancing act.
Okay, you know, we definitely have to do something with all these extra pieces that we made.
Be my guest. Thanks for joining us in the Story Lab.
See you next time.
Okay, so what are we thinking? Like a tower of sorts?
I'm pretty sure that the hot glue gun is like a superpower at this point.
Oh yeah, that makes complete sense. You can make everything.
And then it only takes like 4 or 5 seconds to
I think
dry.
the Egyptians used it for the pyramids.
Really?
Absolutely.
But how do you think they got a
Don't
hot...
question it too much.
Okay.
Let's go! I'm stepping out to a world so bright, ready to discover how to shine your light. Jesus, you're everything, my best friend. I'm gonna celebrate your love that never ends. Hey! Teach me and show me how to love like you do, so I can live it out, live it out. That's what it's all about. I can live it out, live it out. That's what it's all about. Live it out. Living life never felt so free. Loving one another like you did for me. Jesus, you're everything, my best friend. I'm gonna celebrate your love that never ends. Hey! Teach me and show me how to love like you do, so I can live it out, live it out, live it out. That's what it's all about. I can live it out, live it out. That's what it's all about. Live it out. Live it out. We're gonna love, we're gonna be kind, we're gonna pray for each other all the time. We're gonna serve